Hello guys. This is Bongi from OJBV. Namaste. Uh, hello, Dumelang. Okay, guys. Anyway, it's been a long time, and I'm back on YouTube. So this is gonna be my first video. All right. Anyway, let's continue, guys. What I have here, I have a gaming machine that wasn't turning on at all. It's a nice gaming. I think it's a Nitro 5, which was not showing any charging lights, no LEDs, no power LED. It wasn't doing anything, guys. So I had to remove everything step by step. As always, I have to remove the screws and the back cover, guys. That's what you have to do. That's your first step. So I did a physical inspection. Anyway, there was nothing to be seen on the board. Everything was just perfectly fine as is. So I couldn't find anything. So guys, I had to start on the 19 volts. So whenever you are diagnosing a board that is not turning on, a laptop which is not turning on, the first thing first, you know what to do, right? So you have to make sure that your charger does have what, a 19 volts. Because guys, that's going to be a very pointless to jump and then now you are fixing the board, whereas the issue is just your charge. So in order to confirm the 19 volts, as you can see, I had to test what, the first MOSFET, and there was the 19 volts on the input of the first MOSFET, but there was no output on the first MOSFET, no output on the current sensor, guys. But anyway, I'm just going to show you under the microscope. No rush, guys. Let's take it easy. So I had to remove everything step by step. All right, I disconnected the battery, I removed the CMOS battery, and I did try to turn on the machine, hoping it was going to reset, but still, no 19 volts. I wasn't getting any voltages, but it was there on the first MOSFET, on the input of the first MOSFET, but no output. All right, take it easy, guys. I'm just going to show you on the microscope as promised. So first thing first, I had to flip the board and then show you all the components under the microscope. All right, I had to connect my microscope. Guys, it's up and down, and I haven't done this for a very long time. As you can see on my last video I did, I think it was not even this year, I'm not quite sure, but guys, I haven't done these videos for a very long time. All right, anyway, no need to panic, guys. I'm just gonna guide you step by step. It's easy to repair any motherboard, and this one, guys, it was tough. Just to give you a heads up, this one was very tough and tricky, guys. It wasn't the 19 volts, it wasn't the MOSFET. No, it was the MOSFET. But not the 19 volts, obvious. Okay, let me just show you everything on the microscope. Alright, guys, I'm pretty sure you know how to trace the first and the second MOSFET. That's going to be your basic. That's going to be your first thing first whenever you are diagnosing a board that is not turning on at all. Those two guys there, those three guys there, in fact. The first MOSFET, the second MOSFET, and that's R005. That's your current sensor, guys. Sometimes this can be R010, sometimes it can be R020, but this time it's R005. So I did check. So here I was checking for a short. Guys, there was a short on the current sensor. Meaning that's why the first MOSFET was not allowing the 19 volts to go through into the board, because there is a problem on the board. There is a short on the motherboard. All right, so I had to check, guys. Normally, when I'm dealing with a short on the 19 volts, it's possible that you can spot any funny looking capacitors, especially the ceramic capacitors. You can spot them, guys, and in most cases it always was those ceramic capacitors. But in this case, it wasn't the ceramic capacitors. As I said earlier, it was just the MOSFET. But I'll show you which MOSFET was causing a short. So guys, I have to make sure that the second MOSFET, it wasn't shorted, all those things, and it was fine. The components around this 19 volts area, it wasn't shorted, and it wasn't shorted, guys. I'm tired. I had a long day. Anyway, I had to go through, check all the components, and there was no short at all. But the short was on the other side of the board. Okay, so I had to remove everything, remove the board. And guys, sometimes I remove the board so that I can see. Because as I've said before, it's possible to spot any funny looking ceramic capacitors. So as you can see, I was spotting any funny looking ceramic capacitors. But anyway, I couldn't see a thing. Guys. So I had to remove the entire board because I couldn't find a thing. Alright guys, you can even use your eyes. As you can see, I was using my eyes to diagnose everything on the motherboard. I was just using my eyes to check if there's anything missing, if there's any component I missed. So I was just using my own eyes, guys. Alright guys, so here I was checking for a short. Okay, because the short was on the 19 volts, so I had to check the RAM power supply. Guys, almost every power supply is gonna be next to that component which is supplying. So that was the RAM power supply because it was next to a RAM slot. So that's why I know that this was the RAM power supply. But anyway, I had to use the schematic, of which the schematic in this case didn't help me that much. As I was saying, which this one was a little bit tricky, guys. I'm not gonna lie to you. This one was a little bit tricky, guys. But you can use the schematic, and in my case, I have all kinds of schematic. So I have a folder, which is a repair folder, and it's filled with plenty schematics, guys. And I have the board views as well. Plenty of the board views, and I have the BIOS bin files. I got plenty of those, guys. All cleaned, working, tested 100%, guys. Alright, so this is where the first and the second MOSFET are on the schematic. So that, as I was saying, it didn't help me that much because, and I know it won't help you that much, guys. So yeah, but you can use the schematic if you want to. But in my case, since I'm more experienced, I didn't use the schematic. I was just checking, guys, but to be quite honest, the schematic didn't help me much. So that 19 volts V, it says 19 voltage. It means 19 voltage. That VIN means voltage in. That's the power going into the board. So it starts there on the first MOSFET, and then it follow on the second MOSFET, and then it reaches out the PR. The PR is the current sense. The P stands for power resistor, guys, and the R stands for a resistor, guys. That 19 volts is the main power coming from the main charger, guys, which is supplying the entire laptop through the DC in jack, which is a charging port, of which I don't really believe that will help you that much, guys. There's nothing you're gonna get from the schematic. Alright, guys, so what I did here, I was a little bit lazy, guys. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm gonna be honest with you, guys. I was a little bit late. Lazy to repair this board. So what I did was I looked for the bigger ceramic capacitors, which are these 8 ceramic capacitors right in front of you, and I was so sure that the short is coming from those from those 8 ceramic capacitors, and because these were the only big guys on the board, so I was so sure, and since they were showing a sign of a short. But guys, this is not how we found the short. As I was saying, on this board I was a little bit lazy, so I did check for the short, and the short was still there on these big guys. And normally the big ceramic capacitors like these ones, they carry the main volts. They are associated with the main 19 volts, guys. They smooth the main 19 volts. So I was like, no, one of these guys must be shorted. It's causing the short. That's how lazy I was. So that thing there, liquid thing there, it's called a flux, guys. So I had to apply the flux on the board. So you put flux on every component that you want to remove. It makes things so simple, so smooth. So I had to apply flux, guys, and yeah, but again, the flux didn't help on this one. It didn't help at all. No, not the flux, guys. So, hey, guys, I'm tired. Removing these components, these ceramic capacitors, it didn't help, guys. The short was not caused by these ceramic edge capacitors. The short was coming from something else, which I did mention earlier on, which is what? A MOSFET. And guys, you're going to be very surprised. That MOSFET is not something that you can even think of. It's not on the main 19 volt. Nope. So yeah, as you can see, it's me there dodging the board, trying to do some dodgy work. And it didn't work, guys. So I had to test those ceramic capacitors outside of the board. So guys, to test any component, you have to remove it from the main board and then test it outside one by one. You can't test any component while it's connected on the main board. So hence why I had to remove them one by one. Alright guys, I even went back on the main 19 volt on the current sensor and I was trying to dodge this work. I did check whether the short is still there and I was surprised that the short was still there. So what I did there, I applied the flux, guys. That thing there is called the flux. Same thing I was using to remove those components, and I had to I had to mount a wire there so that I can connect my DC bench power supply. So I did that. So there I was applying the wire, I was connecting the wire, I was mounting the wire, and that yellow wire there, it's my positive wire. So I had to apply, I had to inject the 19 volts on this board. But guys, anyway, it not necessarily means you have to inject the 19 volts. You can even put 5 volts on that main voltage because the shorts can be determined with a smaller voltage. You don't really need to apply the 19 volts. And guys, I didn't want to apply any higher voltages because I didn't want to burn this gaming board, because sometimes the power can just escape and then go straight into a CPU or into a GPU. So hence why I was very lazy on this board. I was trying to find a shortcut. So there I was mounting my negative wire, which is the ground. So I did apply my ground. That was my ground wire, guys. Alright, so after applying my wire, I had to connect them on my DC bench power supply. Guys, I lost my wires, my DC bench power supply wires. So I had to use an old charger and then connect the wires on the DC bench power supply. And keep in mind, while I was doing this, the power supply was off. You can't do this while the power supply is on, guys. You really can't. It needs to be off. And then once you are sure that there is no short, then you can go ahead and then inject your power there, guys. There we go. I confirmed that there was no short. Those wires were not touching. The short was there, but it wasn't caused by those wires. So after injecting the power, I started searching for components. And guys, those black GPU memories were getting hot. I'm not gonna lie to you, they were getting hot. I was very surprised, and it was very confusing. But they were getting hot, guys. Not even warm, but some sort of hot. Yeah, they were getting hot. And those are GPU memories. For a graphics card, they were getting warm, more warm, and hot. Couldn't believe it, guys. So what I did was I started searching around the GPU, hoping maybe the power supply for the GPU is shorted. Of which I was right. The power supply for the GPU was getting hot. Alright, so after applying power, I was checking whether I did kill the spot, checking if there's any higher voltages which reached the thing. And there on the GPU, I was getting higher voltages, and that was worrying me. And it made it clear that one of the power supply was broken, and it was allowing higher voltages to reach the memories. Hence why those memories, they were getting very hot. So I had to check on the other side of the board and see where and see whether there was something causing a short, because I wasn't sure, guys, on what was going on. But there, after removing that plate, no components, there was nothing there. I was very confused. I was like, okay, fine. And then I have to put back that plate because I couldn't find anything there which might be causing a short. Alright, guys, so what I did here, I started searching for a short, and luckily I noticed that on this MOSFET there's a short, and the short is exactly the same on the input and on the output. And I was like, okay, this is the MOSFET causing the short. It's a tiny MOSFET, guys, and that MOSFET right there, it's a double MOSFET. It's like 2-in-1. Okay, and guys, you know what MOSFET does, né? When they are in PWM, power to weight module, that's a power supply. That's a type of a power supply. It means they're using two MOSFETs to convert a higher voltage into a lower voltage. So I had to remove that MOSFET there. It's not a single MOSFET. Those are 2-in-1. It's 2-in-1. It's a double MOSFET. So after removing it, the short was gone. Okay, I'll show you there. The short was gone completely, guys. But on the other side, it was still there. But on the other side, there was no short. Yeah, the short was still there, but on the other side, the short was completely gone. Just open line. So I had to confirm it. I had to check the current sensor, and still open line. Numbers were going up, and then goes straight into an open line. And I was very happy, guys, because that tiny guy there was causing a short. This was our main problem, guys. So on the following step, I'll be just removing it, replacing it. So I had to look for another board. But luckily, guys, I couldn't believe it. I found exactly the same motherboard. Not exactly the same, but exactly the same version of the board. Same Acer, everything almost the same size, almost the same shape, but it was almost like identical. Only some few things learned there, but the board was almost identical. So it just made my things easier, and I started eating there my munchy. Guys, I was very happy after this. The board turned on, the machine turned on. But guys, let's take it easy. You will see how I did it. Alright, guys, as I did mention, to test the components, you have to remove them from the board, guys. You have to remove them. I'm not going to lie to you. You have to remove the component from the board, and then you can start testing them one by one. That's the rule, guys. You have to remove them, and then you can start testing them. But as you can see, that MOSFET, guys, was shorted. It was causing some serious problems. Alright guys, that was just the MOSFET. So I found it on the other board and it was exactly the same, the double MOSFET. So I was just replacing it. Guys, there was nothing special there, and I'm sorry that I didn't use the microscope. I didn't show you everything under the microscope, but it's simple guys, it's simple, very, very simple. Next time I'll make sure that my microscope is up and running and there is no issue with my scope.